Shift at Midnight is a co-op detective horror game about spotting dangerous doppelgangers during a gas station night shift. It's an indie title that's not made with macOS compatibility in mind, but there are actually a decent number of good methods to play it on your Mac. In this next video, I'll cover the ones that I liked the most to help you pick the workaround that will best fit your preferences and setup. But before you choose which one you want, you'll have to buy the game. To help you, we'll leave links in the description to where you can purchase it, and we'll also add links to discounts when such are available. Now let's get to the ways to play it. Here are the two methods that gave us best results. Crossover is hands down the best non-cloud method to play Windows games on Mac in 2026. It will give you the ability to play anywhere you want without internet limitations, and scales better with newer Macs. But you're not going to get anywhere near the graphical fidelity or performance you'll have with cloud solutions. Crossover is the best local route, especially for an undemanding game like Shift at Midnight. I tested this method on my M3 Max with 36 gigs, and I ran the game with zero issues, save for some slight occasional stutter due to the use of a translation layer. There's not much to be said about FPS rates and graphics settings, since this game is pretty undemanding, and uses retro graphics that aren't particularly taxing on modern machines. That being said, I suspect that running it on a weaker Mac through Crossover could potentially cause some performance dips. That's why I'd still say that an Apple Silicon Mac with 16 gigs is the sensible baseline. Something with 8 gigs should still do the trick, but at that point, it might just be better to stream the game over a cloud gaming service. The only real downside here is that an update to the game or to Crossover could cause some temporary instability in the way the game behaves. Overall, Crossover is a very good option here, and I totally recommend it if you want to try Shift at Midnight on your Mac. Also, with this method, you can use mods for single-player games, and there's a 14-day free trial. To use Crossover, click the link in the description, enter your email, and download the app. Then, after you install Crossover, you must click the Try Now option for the 14-day trial. If you need a longer tutorial, visit our video on that. Just note that the experience with Crossover can sometimes vary between updates, so don't be surprised if it suddenly starts to break the game. If this happens, check our site for the detailed instructions, or you'll have to research this on your own. The second method we recommend is called Boosteroid, and it's the cheapest cloud gaming service that's actually any good. This is the most plug-and-play solution that we found. The main draw of Boosteroid and cloud gaming in general is that your machine doesn't matter so long as you can supply it with around 40 megabits of stable internet. You can crank up everything to max even in 4K, and you should be more than fine. Boosteroid is another strong fit for Shift at Midnight, especially if you are looking for a stable solution that won't break down when a new update arrives. With Boosteroid, you can count on the same smooth performance as long as your internet meets the service's requirements. More specifically, a 40 megabit internet should be more than enough to stream this game at a 1080p and 60 FPS. There's also a 4K option with all Boosteroid plans, but you'd hardly need that for a game like Shift at Midnight. For me personally, the main appeal of Boosteroid is the convenience and the ability to also play a variety of other games you own on Steam and other stores from the same place, without needing to install or download anything. All you have to do to start gaming is follow the link in the description, register for the service, and buy a subscription. Then just search for the game and click play. It's all pretty easy, but we have a how-to tutorial if you need it, and an overview of the service if you want something more in-depth to make up your mind. Remember how I told you that an 8 gig Mac should still be able to run this game locally? Well, this is true, but for weaker machines, you will need to make some in-game settings adjustments to get a decent performance. So for machines with 8 or even 16 gigs, I'd start by setting the shadow quality to medium and anti-aliasing to medium. Those changes should help most when monster attacks fill the station with movement and effects. You can keep texture quality on high so faces, identification cards, and suspicious details remain easy to inspect. Besides, textures in Shift at Midnight aren't too taxing anyway. Also, I recommend capping the frame rate at 60 and using full screen to avoid any visual weirdness. For further performance gains, feel free to try the rest of the suggestions you see here. The other methods are a variation of this theme. xCloud is Microsoft's cloud solution, and it's by far the worst of the cloud solutions mentioned here, but it comes with the benefit of being free if you subscribe to Game Pass. AirGPU is the rent a gaming PC by the hour option. You buy credit, spin up a Windows machine, then stream it through Parsec or Moonlight. You pay by the hour and prices vary depending on what machine you rent, but the average is around $1. Then you also need to pay for local storage, which is $3.50 per month per 50 gigabytes with a minimum of 100 gigs. Shadow PC is the subscription version of the same idea, where the lowest monthly subscription fee is $34 for US users, and it only goes up from there. EU users get a cheaper plan option that costs €20 per month, but that's still more than twice the monthly fee for Boosteroid's base plan. Sikaru Gear is the free DIY version of Crossover. It works great when it works, but it's more inconsistent, less intuitive, and has a lengthy setup. As for the setup, you first need to install Homebrew, then Sikaru Gear itself, then Steam, and then the actual game. The process takes a bit more time compared to the other methods here, and so is beyond the scope of this video. For detailed guidance on how to set up Cicero Gear, just click the respective video in the description and it will show you exactly what to do. Here's how I choose between the available methods. Boosteroid is the easiest overall pick. It gives you high streaming quality, avoids local compatibility issues, and works well on practically any Mac with a stable connection. The downside is that visual compression when your internet is weak or laggy can make small visual clues harder to read. Xbox Cloud Gaming is the best value if you already use Game Pass and plan to play with friends in the Xbox ecosystem. It is simple, but browser play requires a controller, and the image quality is not as flexible as Boosteroid. Shadow PC and AirGPU are both decent options for this game, and their flexibility means you can customize the entire experience to fit your exact hardware preferences. However, the end result won't be that much different compared to Boosteroid, so I'd really only go for them if I really wanted that extra customization. Crossover is the best choice for local play. You avoid streaming delay, keep keyboard and mouse support, and can play without relying on constant internet quality. The trade-off is some performance limitations when playing on a weaker machine and the usual chance that a future update changes compatibility. Cicero Gear is the free DIY alternative to Crossover. It supports the same general rendering options, but its setup is not as streamlined or user-friendly as Crossover and requires more effort and some trial and error until you get everything to work smoothly. Really, I only recommend it if you have some spare time and patience, and also if you have at least some basic experience with wine-based apps. My overall recommendation is Boosteroid for the simplest experience, Crossover for local play, Xbox Cloud for Game Pass users, and Cicero Gear only for people who are okay with tinkering and troubleshooting. So these were the best methods for playing this game. If you want to explore more popular gaming titles you can play on your Mac, check the videos that should now appear on your screen, or simply browse through our channel. Also, if you found this content helpful, we'd greatly appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to our channel. Take care and see you in the next one.